Welcome back to our channel. It's Kelly again, and now we're going to talk about Nina's new explosive plan, and this is proving to be a tweak in Brennan's plan. The tension at that long-term care facility has reached a boiling point, and it is pulling in so many threads from the past while spinning them into something startlingly new. Brennan lies there paralyzed, unable to move a muscle, and Ross has clearly run out of patience with the silence. The threat of that toxin, something that could end everything quietly in his sleep, hangs heavy in the air like a storm cloud ready to burst. It is not the first time we have seen desperate men resort to terrible measures in this town, yet something about this moment feels sharper, more personal, and it has me leaning forward in my chair every time the scene shifts back to that room. What strikes me most is how Ross's frustration has transformed him from a calculated operator into someone willing to cross lines we once thought were firm. He wants that black box code so badly that he is willing to gamble with a life, and the way he delivers the ultimatum makes the whole situation feel unbearably close. I keep asking myself why this particular code matters so much right now. Is it tied to old WSB operations, or does it hold secrets about Valentine that could upend everything we thought we knew about the Cassadine legacy? The show has always excelled at layering these mysteries. But here, the stakes feel elevated because Brennan cannot fight back with words or fists. His strength now lives entirely in his eyes, and the writers are using that limitation to create some of the most gripping, silent communication I have seen in years. Then Nina arrives, and everything changes in an instant. She brings with her this unexpected insight about a surprise solution and the realization that the code is not a string of numbers at all, but a specific rhythm of eye blinks connected to Britt hits like a thunderclap. I actually gasped out loud the first time I watched that moment. It is such a clever, human touch, reminding us that Britt's return has not been just for show. Her cleverness, that sharp mind we loved and sometimes feared, is still echoing through the story in the most inventive way. Nina piecing this together on the fly shows a side of her we have not always seen so clearly, a quick intelligence born from years of navigating the complicated worlds of fashion, family, and now these dangerous secrets. Her presence alone shifts the power in the room, yet it also paints a target on her back that she may not fully appreciate yet. What truly amazes me is Nina's decision to stay even after Brennan tries desperately to signal her with those same expressive eyes, urging her to run. She chooses to remain, to shield Valentine's secret no matter the cost, and that choice speaks volumes about the depth of her loyalty. We have watched Nina evolve from someone often caught in her own storms to a woman willing to stand in the path of real danger for someone she cares about. It is not the same Nina who once fought so publicly with Carly or Sunny. This is a more layered version, and the Turning Woods setting is forcing her into a role that feels both brave and heartbreakingly vulnerable. The way she positions herself between Ross's growing rage and Brennan's helpless form creates a triangle of tension that I have not seen executed this well since some of the classic spy-tinged stories from decades ago. Yet it is different now because the emotional stakes are so much more intimate. This entire sequence is proving that the events at Turning Woods are sparking real adjustments in the larger narrative. Brennan and Nina are suddenly linked in a storyline that feels fresh and unexpected. Their shared peril is forging a connection that goes beyond the usual alliances or rivalries we have grown accustomed to. I find myself wondering whether this will lead to a tentative trust between them or whether the danger will drive them further apart once the immediate threat passes. Either way, the writers are clearly using this location and these circumstances to reset certain dynamics, and the result is a new kind of obsession taking shape. Ross, or rather Cullum as we have come to know his fuller presence, is no longer focused solely on Brennan. His pursuit is expanding, reaching toward Britt in ways that feel both logical and deeply unsettling. That expansion of his fixation is exactly what makes the current arc feel so alive and unpredictable. I have to admit, when I first heard whispers about Britt's involvement in any code or secret rhythm, I was skeptical. After all, her history in Port Charles has been filled with its own dramatic exits and surprising returns. But seeing how her past cleverness is now being repurposed as the key to unlocking this black box mystery gives the whole plot a satisfying circularity. It honors what made Britt such a compelling character in the first place while giving longtime viewers something new to chew on. Nina, recognizing that connection, feels like a gift to those of us who remember Britt's sharp tongue and even sharper intellect. It also raises the question of how deeply Britt herself might still be entangled in whatever operation this black box belongs to. Is she in hiding because of it? Or is she the one who created the blinking pattern as a safeguard? The possibilities keep my mind racing long after the episode ends. The bravery Nina shows by staying put, even as Cullum's attention turns toward her, is both admirable and nerve-wracking. I keep thinking about how easily this could go wrong. One wrong move, one misinterpreted signal from Brennan's eyes, and the situation could spiral into something none of us want to imagine. Yet that very uncertainty is what keeps pulling me back to the screen. The show has always thrived on these moments where ordinary people, or at least people we have come to care about deeply, find themselves in extraordinary danger. Nina's choice to protect Valentine's secret at such personal risk reminds me of older storylines where loyalty was tested in the most extreme ways, but here the test feels more modern, more psychologically layered. She is not just protecting a man or a secret. She is protecting a part of her own complicated history, and that makes her stand feel all the more poignant. What I find particularly fascinating is how this new obsession Cullum is developing toward Britt is reshaping the broader canvas of Port Charles. It is not simply another villain chasing another target. It feels like the natural outgrowth of everything that has been simmering at Turning Woods. The paralysis, the code, Nina's intervention, Brennan's silent warnings, all of it is feeding into a larger pattern of fixation that threatens to pull in more characters before we know it. I wonder whether Anna or even Carly will be drawn into the crossfire once the full scope of Cullum's reach becomes clear. The writers seem to be planting seeds for exactly that kind of expansion, and it excites me because it shows the story is not content to stay small. It is reaching outward while staying rooted in the emotional realities of the people we already love. Brennan's condition adds another layer of heartbreak that I cannot stop thinking about. Here is a man who has commanded respect and fear in equal measure through his WSB connections, now reduced to communicating through the flicker of his eyelids. The dignity he maintains even in that helplessness is a testament to the strength of the character and the actor bringing him to life. Every time the camera lingers on his face, I find myself holding my breath, trying to decipher the messages he is sending. It is a masterclass in subtle storytelling, and it makes the threat of the toxin feel even more monstrous, because it would silence even that last fragile form of expression. Ross's willingness to go that far reveals how cornered he feels, and cornered men are always the most dangerous in Port Charles. Nina's arrival with the blinking code solution does more than just offer a potential way out. It creates an entirely new dynamic between her and Brennan that I suspect will ripple through future episodes. They were never natural allies before. Their paths crossed in tense ways tied to Valentine and larger power plays. But shared danger has a way of rewriting those rules, and I believe we are witnessing the beginning of that rewrite right now. The Turning Woods events are not just a backdrop. They are the catalyst forcing these two very different people into a partnership neither of them would have chosen under normal circumstances. That forced proximity, that mutual reliance, is what makes this storyline feel so distinct from earlier chapters in their lives. It is proof that the show can still surprise us by taking familiar faces and placing them in unfamiliar emotional territory. I keep coming back to the idea that Cullum's expanding pursuit of Britt is the clearest sign yet of how the obsession is evolving. What began as a focused demand for a code from a paralyzed man has grown into something larger. Something that threatens to consume more lives. Britt's return was already a gift to longtime fans, but weaving her into this dangerous web through the blinking rhythm adds depth that feels both respectful and thrilling. It suggests the writers are thinking long-term, planting connections that could pay off in surprising ways months from now. Nina's role as the one who recognized the pattern positions her as a pivotal figure in whatever comes next, and I cannot wait to see whether her courage will be rewarded or whether it will lead her into even greater peril. There is a quiet power in the way Brennan keeps trying to warn Nina even when his body will not cooperate. Those eye movements carry more emotion than pages of dialogue ever could. They speak of concern, of urgency, of a man who has spent his life protecting secrets, now desperate to protect another person. It is a beautiful inversion of his usual role, and it humanizes him in ways that make me root for his recovery even more fiercely. At the same time, it heightens the tragedy of his situation because the toxin threat could rob him of even that small agency. The balance the show strikes between hope and dread in these scenes is masterful, and it keeps me emotionally invested in a way few other programs manage anymore. Watching Nina weigh her options and ultimately choose to stay has made me reflect on how far her character has traveled. There was a time when her decisions were driven more by immediate self-interest or the need to protect her own heart. Now she is willing to risk everything for a secret that belongs to Valentine, a man whose own path has been filled with shadows. That choice does not feel out of character so much as it feels like a natural progression. The Turning Woods pressure cooker is simply accelerating what was already there beneath the surface. It is also creating space for new relationships to form under fire, relationships that could redefine how we see both Nina and Brennan moving forward. The new linked storyline between them feels like one of the freshest developments the show has offered in quite some time. It is not the same old romantic triangle or corporate takeover drama. It is two people thrust together by circumstance, communicating in fragments and glances, united by the need to survive a threat neither of them fully controls. That kind of storytelling rewards patient viewers who remember the long histories these characters carry. It also invites newer audiences to discover the emotional weight behind every look and every withheld truth. I find myself hoping the writers continue to explore this unexpected bond, rather than rushing to resolve it too neatly. Cullum's growing obsession with Britt adds another dimension that keeps the larger narrative humming with possibility. What started as a focused interrogation at Turning Woods has clearly widened its scope. And that widening feels like a deliberate narrative choice designed to keep us guessing. Every time the story cuts away from the care facility to hint at Britt's situation or Cullum's next move, I feel that familiar surge of anticipation. The show is reminding us that no secret stays buried forever in Port Charles, and the price of those secrets can be measured in real danger to the people we care about most. As I sit with these latest episodes, I cannot shake the sense that we are watching something special unfold. The combination of physical helplessness, intellectual puzzles, and raw emotional loyalty is creating a cocktail of suspense that feels both classic and contemporary. Nina's bravery, Brennan's silent strength, Ross's dangerous impatience, and the shadow of Cullum's expanding fixation on Britt are all pieces of a larger puzzle that the Turning Woods events have forced into the open. This is the kind of storytelling that reminds me why I have stayed with General Hospital for so long. It still knows how to make us care, how to make us worry,